Messiah for the Magi. Matthew 2, verses 1 to 2. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews?" Unlike Luke and Matthew, Matthew does not tell us about the shepherds coming to visit Jesus in the stable. His focus is immediately on foreigners, Gentiles, non-Jews, coming from the east to worship Jesus. So Matthew portrays Jesus at the beginning and ending of his gospel as a universal Messiah for all nations, not just for the Jews. Here the first worshippers are court magicians or astrologers or wise men, not from Israel but from the east, perhaps from Babylon. They were Gentiles, unclean, according to the Old Testament ceremonial laws at least. And at the end of Matthew, the last words of Jesus are, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations." Matthew 28, 18 to 19. It is not only an open door for us Gentiles to rejoice in the Messiah, it added proof that he was the Messiah, because one of the repeated prophecies was that the nations and kings would in fact come to him as the ruler of the world. Isaiah 60 verse 3 says, "Nations shall come to your light, the kings to the brightness of your rising." The very beginning with Abraham, the promise of him, "I will make you a blessing so that you can be a blessing to the nations." Right from the beginning of the covenant and God forming his people, there was a command and a blessing to be had beyond his people. And it's almost encapsulated by Matthew 28, "Go into all the world. Go and make disciples of all nations." Now it's possible because of the work of Jesus on the cross. So go and do it. Be a blessing to the nations, as I have been a blessing to you. So Matthew adds proof to the messiahship of Jesus and shows that he is Messiah, a king, a promise fulfiller for all nations, not just Israel. And that's important to us to remember on Christmas, because as much as Christmas is a reflection for us to remember the birth of Jesus, it is always a good opportunity to, forgive the slogan, but to share the reason for the season. The more that people don't want Jesus in their life, period, the more they have to magnify Christmas. Have you ever wondered that the more our nation rejects the sovereignty of God and the existence of God and the coming of a Messiah, they have to make Christmas magical somehow. They have to make Christmas so festive, so excited. And they come up with lots of different ways. Almost that happens every year. Obviously the most long-standing one is Father Christmas, Santa. You know, the magic and mystery of Santa has replaced the magic and mystery of the coming Messiah. The exciting act of what the elf is going to do every morning in the lead up to Christmas has replaced that excitement of the angels and the shepherds and the magi coming to worship and to praise and to see, to get a glimpse of this true God. And so the more the world rejects Christ, the more they have to replace it with their own things. And yet here's a reminder that Mary and Joseph were Jewish. Everyone in Bethlehem were Jews. who'd seen and saw the early days of Jesus. The shepherds were Jews. Yet we see two instances of foreigners. One have travelled hundreds of miles, thousands of miles to come and see him, and to pay respects and to worship him and to give gifts. But then we see Jesus and his new family even moving out of Israel, Judea, into Egypt. And he stays there until they're called to come back. And so God is for everyone. And at Christmas, there is still place for the magi. It's a reminder that God is for everyone. And so in our reflections and in our celebration, our spiritual celebration of this season, make sure that we just let someone know why we're celebrating Christmas. Because they will just assume that you are celebrating for the very exact same reason as they are. Because you've got a tree up, or you've got lights up, or you're doing the Christmas shopping, or you've got family coming around on Christmas Day. They will just assume that you are doing it for the same reason as them, which is not for the celebration of Christ's birth. Not to remember Christ coming into this earth and starting his journey to Calvary. And so let them know. Share the reason for the season, that it's Christ that we celebrate, it's Christ that we remember.